when he came in, he took his hat and he threw it on the ground. He was so upset. And he said, Mr. Chapman, he says, as soon as you get the ship on the blocks and get that gangway over here, I want to see you aboard the ship. I said, yes, sir. So I get him on the blocks. I tell my handyman, keep pumping the water down. I go and salute the flag. I saluted him, and he puts his hand out and he says, that's the finest job I've ever seen anybody do. How in the hell did you do it? He says, I got officers on here can't do even half what you do. He says, come up and have breakfast with me. I want to know how you ever became a dock officer. So it went real well with him, and by the time he was ready to leave, he wrote me a report, outstanding position. He says, shook my hand, he says, I'm sorry I questioned you, because he says, you're the finest chief warrant officer I've ever seen.
I think that's one of the only times I've heard of an apology in my entire interviewing of Navy personnel, so we salute you for that, because those don't come easily.
This guy was ready to make admiral. That's why he said, if anything ever happens to it, he says, I'll never make admiral. And the admiral says, if anything happens, he'll be back to a seaman second.
That's right. Exactly. They sink one of those. Let's see now. So I'm thinking that you have crossed the international. We need to hear. We're going to come back and hear even more of these stories. This is so good. But did you cross the international date line and the equator and go through all those ceremonies by any chance?
Yeah, I did. Way back in 1941, when we went to Australia, we had to cross the equator and become a polywogs. And yeah.
Okay. Anything you want to tell us about that?
Well, it's quite an experience, because you had a big fat heavy chief up there, and you had to kiss his stomach with grease on it, you know, and I didn't do it. I took him, I punched him in the stomach, and he ran over to. They had a big water tank, and then you had to go in there, and so I figured they're going to duck me good. So I went in, there's a couple of guys, and I fought them, and I threw them out of the water, and I got out, and they left me alone.
Okay, I like that. And also being on, obviously one of the big new battleships in the U.S. Navy. You were really kind of, I think, selected to be on that big ship. What did it sound like when those guns went off? Were you ever on deck to hear the guns go off, or what did it feel like in the ship?
It's when I was first on the ship, I had to be a #1 turret. I had to bring the powder up, 6 bags of powder, put it in the ram, and ram it into the gun, and then the projector went in. No, the projector went in first, then the 6 pounds, and we could fire those guns 20 miles away, and they had big canvases put up, and they would paint on the bow of the projector, and it would leave a paint mark on the canvas, so they knew exactly what gun. Each gun had a different color, and every time we went to sea, we would have gun practice, and we'd have to fire those guns 20 miles away. And you could actually see the gun leave, the projector leave the end of the nozzle and follow it. That's how slow they were going. It wasn't like that, it was so it's quite an experience. But the noise is so great, we had to put cotton on our ears. It was just, that's why I think I'm having trouble today, because of those guns when they go off. But that's when I was a seaman, before I made 3rd class. Then I went to the repair parties. But as a seaman, I was in #1 turret. And those projectors they're 4 feet high and they weigh 1,000 pounds piece.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I guess maybe any final thoughts for today, but we're going to come back in maybe a week or two if that's okay, John?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's go ahead and wrap now, and then that way, just to be honest, we could go visit this guy at the hospital on the way out of
Okay.
town. And yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for having us here. Wow. I mean, I have heard of different people who have saved people's lives by knowing the ship and, you know, when they're, you know, when the ship's going down. But what a fantastic story. And then your skills with the cutting torch and your knowledge of the ship. And I'm just going to say this out loud on the video. I was going to save it, but we go to church. We believe in God, and I believe you, John. And whatever it was, I believe that there was some, you know, some intercession, and it's just something that you just have to believe in. It's hard to explain, but whatever did happen, I'm glad it happened, and thank you for sharing that story with us, John.
I never told anybody but the chaplain, because I don't think people would believe me, but when he says, you went this and you're going to go through the whole war and you're going to be alive. That's what he told me. So I never was afraid after that.
And he was right.
So I'm still here.
Yeah, he was right.
Perfect. Well, I don't think we can say it any better than that. Let's go ahead and we'll just stop. But we're only halfway, I think, through, so
Okay.
we're going to come back for another couple hours.
Okay. I got all my ribbons on, my medals and everything on a board in there. If you want it, next time you come, I'll bring it
Yeah.
out. So
Definitely, yeah.
And we'd like to interview your wife, so we'll see you. We'll come
maybe
on.
she'll
She's
feel better
really
then.
better.
Too. Well, wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to just clap my hands and say stop because
Okay.
there's a point where we got to go. So, okay.
So I gave it to them, and they were so impressed, they wouldn't let me quit. They had to make a report to the principal that, you know, and matter of fact, some of them didn't even know the Japanese were responsible for the war. They wanted to know where Pearl Harbor was and why they call it a pearl. Do they have pearls there?
Exactly. Exactly.
Kind of
Yeah.
scary, isn't it, in a way?
No, and we don't want to repeat this. Like we say, never forget. We don't want to repeat this, being attacked like that without any knowledge. That was pretty bad. Let's see now. Okay, this is here. Great.
I'm sorry it's such a long story, but
No, that's just, we were doing so good, you were telling it perfectly. And like I say, we just need to pace ourselves. And see, I guess, well, we were coming to visit this guy anyway, and so we thought we'd come by and visit you, so you're kind of the extra one. But his name is Hank Fries. He was on the USS Detroit.
Detroit,
Yeah.
it's a heavy cruiser.
You betcha. And he's in the hospital now, yeah, so what can you do? But he was a lifelong Navy guy. Did you retire from the Navy, or?
Yeah, 23 years.
Wow.
My
Yes.
wife said I better get out there before they kill me.
Well, Denise, tell him about how
I
most of
wanted
the
to
guys
do,
wanted to stay.
wanted to do 30, but she wouldn't let me do it.
Oh, she had enough, huh?
I just lost my friend, Ralph Ross. He just died here about 6 months ago. And we've been married, we've been friends for 66 years because he introduced me to my wife.
Oh,
That's the stories we want to hear when we come back, is how you met your wife. You can tell us now, but, so yeah, wonderful. Well, that's the most important thing, is finding a good wife. So luckily I found her. She's pretty good.
yeah, you're very lucky, huh?
Yeah, very, very, very lucky that I have her. That's for a fact. Wow. Yeah, we got a couple of kids, so we'll pick them up here from school shortly even.
Yeah, I got 8 grandchildren.
Wonderful.
Whoa. How many kids?
4 of them are great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren.
Ooh,
Now we're talking. That is so wonderful.
man.
Well, we'll type up what we started here this first half, and we'll get it typed up for you, for the kids, yeah. That'll be good then.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2, a boy and a girl. He's 66-year-old, and my daughter is 64. She was a school teacher for 20 years.
Wow. Do they live nearby?
She's retired now.
Do they live nearby or?
One lives in Winters and the other one lives in San Jose.
Oh, okay.
He's a building inspector.
Oh, he still works? Wow.
Nice.